Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be building a real AAC with the Emax 2306, the limited edition white ones. This is the 2750 kV, I believe. Yeah, 2750 kV. This is going to be fun because I also ordered the F40 and F80 motors, and I'm going to be doing the same exact setup on Realacc F3 V3. Just everything is going to be exactly the same. So just the motors are going to be different. So this will give us a really nice, a good review of all these motors. So far, this is the one that came in first. I've already built a Martian with this, but I didn't make a video about it. But I'm going to be flying it this weekend. So is this one, hopefully. So we're going to be using the Emax 2306. We're going to be using for the VTX. We're going to use the TX526. They were on sale. I just bought a bunch of them. So they're very good. Selectable 25, 200, and 600 milliwatts. So I really like these. For ESC, I'm going to be sticking with the 35 amp Racerstar MS series. They run D-Shot out of the box. If you remove the filter cap, it'll be a lot better, but I don't think you'll notice the difference. I haven't, anyways. For flight controller, I'm going to be using the LRC F3 V3. I found this to be very good if you add a low ESR capacitor, and I'm really in love with it. I've ordered around 6 of them now, and I'm just going to keep them as backups, and I'm going to replace a bunch of my other quads with these. Had no problems. The most reliable quad has one of these on there. I mean, after adding the low ESR capacitor and debugging it, but then once you get it perfect, it's just unbelievable. It flies amazing. But I'm hoping it's going to be able to cope with these monsters right here. So I guess we're going to have to find out on that. And for the receiver, I'm going to be using this one. It's a Flysky X6B. I like it because it's stackable, so we're just gonna have like a 2-stack right there, and it's just gonna be completely clean. What else? Oh yeah, for a camera I'm gonna be using the Foxeer XAT600, the PAL version. So yeah, this is gonna be. I like this camera. I have a bunch of these. I've also ordered some of these Chinese ones. It's basically, I guess, the same. I don't know. That's why I ordered like 2 of them to see if they're the same as this, because it was a lot cheaper. It was like $20. Or less even, actually. So I'm going to be trying those out. Battery's done charging. Alright, let's begin. I'm going to prepare the layout here. I'm going to put in the motors real quick, and then we'll figure it out as we go. Alright guys, be right back. Alright guys, so I put the motors in place, used double-sided tape to hold the ESCs in place, and place the flight controller in. Now, I've used higher standoffs this time because the battery strap, almost every crash, I end up ripping it, and it's just a complete pain to actually just put a new one in. I'd have to just undo the screws, lift it up, just stick it in, use tweezers to pull it or pliers, and it's just very time consuming. So this time I'm going to go with a little bit higher standoffs. I think this is too high. I'm not sure yet. We're going to figure out as we go, but right now the current standoffs I'm using are about 1 centimeter, which is 10 millimeters. So that's the current one, but I'm planning on dropping it down to I think a 7 or 5 maybe. Anyways, we'll do that as we go now. Now we got to figure out how we're going to route these, because check this out. The negative here is going to have to go all the way here, and the positive here is going to have to go all the way here. So, and we can't go that way straight like this, because we're going to have the things. This is the front right now, so we're going to have these 2 side plates here coming up. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to run them from the bottom here. So we're going to run these from the bottom. Alright. From the bottom on the other side, so it doesn't get in the way of the standoffs here and then the little wall thingy here. So this is going to be negative, and this is going to be positive here. And I'm going to do basically the same thing with this side, which is I'm going to go in through here. And I really do hope you guys like these builds, like these detailed builds. Just to know, if you guys don't like them this long, then just let me know so I don't waste any of your time. Alright, so we got this right here, and positive, positive, negative, negative. There we go. That's how these are going to go right now. So what don't forget, we also have to add a low ESR capacitor. So right now I'm debating on where to add it. Maybe like I did on my other Realacc, which is I also took two little tiny silicone wires, ran them from here all the way to the back and to the low ESR capacitor, and it just hangs in the back. It looks like a jet engine in the back, so it looks pretty good. So let's do this now. I'm going to do this now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up the pads first, and I'm going to solder these in. So let me prepare the soldering station. I'll be right back. Alright guys, so the soldering station is ready now, and I've cut them to length here. So what I did is I also used heat shrink. I cut up 4 little pieces, put heat shrink here. I didn't shrink it though, just to hold the wires in. So I put one here and one here to hold them coming out from here, and then one for this and one for this. So and I've cut them to length. So basically I'm just gonna, from now on, I'm gonna keep always a little extra wire, because it's a pain if you have to troubleshoot something and you can't lift something up, or if you're in the field trying to take it apart to do something and then you completely break a wire off from the solder, or it's a nightmare, especially if it's your last quad. So and you have like 30 batteries to fly and you only got to fly one, it's very terrible. Okay, so alright. Let's cut them to length now, or you know what, I'm going to prepare the pads here first. So let's get the flux. There it is. Okay. Alright. Alright. Should do it. Now the solder. Alright, so we added flux on the pads. I'm going to turn on the fume fan thingy. Just add a little solder to the solder tip here. I've set it to 400. I should have set it to 450, but it should do just fine. Alright, there's our first pad. Let's do our next. It's a very big pad, so alright, that should be good now. Let's strip the wires. Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright. When they're very short like this, it's very hard to twist them. So, alright, now let's get our favorite tool of all time. Oh, let's solder the tips a bit. Alright. So I'm going to increase the solder station from 400 to 442. 450 I usually do it, just so we could get a good heat transfer. We get the heat to transfer very good, so we get a nice joint, and that's what we're going for. Nice, beautiful joint. So this is the plan, and I hope you guys can see right here. So we're gonna solder that in, but I'm gonna keep it all the way to the left to leave some room, so when we get the wires for the silicone wires for the low ESR capacitor, we're able to solder it in without any problems. So okay, I need to grab it with my left hand. It's a bit difficult on camera because I don't want to hit the camera. Okay, right there. So now I'm going to just apply pressure and then get the solder here. Alright, that should be good right there. And I want to move these wires. It's beautiful. I love that crunching sound. Alright, and that's it. And it is on positive, yeah, correct. Okay, good. Now, it's these little guys' turn. Same process. We're gonna use this tool right here, the hemostats. I mean, if you're into building drones, I believe this is like one of the best tools you could own right here for these kinds of jobs. It helps you keep it clean. You don't have to worry about burning your hand. Now this is a bit tricky here because, you know, I'm going to stick it all the way to the left here because I don't want to risk melting the standoff. I just don't want to have to deal with taking it off and put it back in again. So we're going to push it here as far left as possible. Okay. Make sure it's transferred. Nice and shiny. We had a little move on that one, but we were able to correct it right away. So let's take a look at this. See, all that little extra stuff, that's just flux, so don't worry about that. We could scrape that off later or use flux cleaner. And then I do recommend you use flux cleaner. This kind of flux I got actually creates shorts, and I had that happen to me on the Martian. So we're gonna have to clean that off with I think alcohol or just flux cleaner. Anyways, we'll worry about that later. Alright, so this side's done. That's awesome. Now, if you guys notice, there is no ground for the ESC signals. So what I'm not gonna use ground. I'm just gonna use signal. So we're not gonna ground the signal here. It's already getting grounded. It should have been getting grounded. Low ESR capacitor should help us in that aspect right there. So we're gonna cut that off later. Alright, anyways, let's go to the other side now. Let's figure out how we're going to do this one. Okay, so we have the battery here. I think we should leave the battery for last, so the battery wire for last. So let's do the same idea here. I think it's good. So what we're going to do is get some of this heat shrink. I cut a little piece here. Focus, come on. Okay. So, and what we're going to do now is we get one ESC, power wires, stick them on there, just to keep it nice and tidy. Okay, so now we got this right here, it's nice and tidy, and then we're just going to stick it through right here. Alright, and same thing for this side. Alright, so sorry about that guys, the camera died. So what I did is I heat shrunk them. I put the heat shrink on the side now, and I heat shrunk them here, and we're just gonna solder them in here. So right now I'll just cut them into length. I think right here is gonna be beautiful. Uh-oh. That's fine. So now they're not nice and equal, but we can make them nice and equal. Alright, okay. So let's strip them, and or you know what? First let's put solder on the tabs first, on the pads. So we don't want to put too much, just a little, because cleaning it is a bit of a pain, especially with this new flux I got. I really hate it. I know I don't have to put flux because this is a flux core here, and I'm gonna apologize to you guys real quick because I'm gonna turn on the fan so it can suck the fumes. All right, so I'm on 450 right now, 450 Celsius. Alrighty, nice and shiny. So, it's good. Hope you guys can see that. Let's strip the wires. Not too much, just a little. There we go, that's perfect. Okay. What I'm noticing is the more you build, the more techniques you get, the more you learn from each one. I'm going to be rebuilding a couple of them because they're just absolutely horrible. I like my Ramis build. No one's seen that, and I'm happy that no one's seen that one. Alright, let's put solder on the tips now. I mean on the wires. Alright. Now it's going to be the same way we did it last time, which is to grab them and then, oh, hold on, we have something very important here to remember. So the PPM, last time on a board like this, the PPM is going to come out from this port right here. So we don't want to block it because it was a nightmare to actually get that cable in last time. Or maybe we should do that now. It was 1, 2, and 3, and it's gonna go in like this, I think. Let's check it. So the PPM was a absolute nightmare. Alright. You know what? Forget it. We're gonna push it off like this, sideways. You know, I'm just going to come in sideways like this since we have a little extra slack, so it'll leave an opening there. And we don't have to worry about, what is it, the low ESR capacitor, because we're going to take it from the other side. We might take it from this side, I don't know yet, but as of right now, I found it very good to take it from the other side. So what I'm going to do is actually... See, here's a standoff here, so, but I don't think it's going to get into the way, so I think we're going to be good. Let's set that in now. So this is negative, correct. That's good, clean, shiny solder. Look at that, it's flush. I'm very happy how this is turning out, unlike the DYS Fire build. I'm going to be rebuilding that one with the same flight controller. Now let's get this side ready, and okay, we have to grab it with our left. There we go. Do we have any other ports down here? No, we don't, so this one's fine. But remember just to keep it away from the battery pads a bit, so we can so we don't have problems when we're soldering that in, and it just doesn't ruin the overall look. So actually, I'm going to, okay, there we go, and just apply pressure on the solder parts, because here the solder will sink through and it'll make this top part here a bit harder than the rest of the wire. So there we go. Shit, we hit the nylon standoff. I think we contaminated our little solder joint area there, but it's fine. It's totally fine. Oh, that's perfect. Alright, so now we got these in. We're going to clean the flux off before turning it on, so if you ever use flux, just remember it's very important to clean that off before it goes. And also make sure you know where the arrow is pointing, so you don't have to mess with any yaw offsets and things like this. Alright, so next up now will be, I think we're going to leave the motors for last, to solder in the motors, and I might just skip over it because it's pretty obvious how to do it. So I think we're gonna solder in the signal wires now. We're gonna find the best way to do it and cleanest way to do it. So right now, let's just begin by adding solder on the signal pads here. So we have motor 1. Here, let me show you guys. Okay, focus. Okay, signal 1, 2, 3, 4. Exactly how beta flight is and clean flight. So I'm going to cut the grounds from the ESCs here because we're not going to be using them, and then we're going to figure out the best way to route these little guys right here. So, all right, let me get that out of the way, and be right back. All right, guys, we're done here. Now I've cut the signal wires to length, and I've did the same wrapping motion I did with the power lines of the ESC. So right now let's put solder on the pads, and we start here. This is motor 4. Since we have the orientation of the quad flip now, so make sure there's no little blobs on the solder tip, or you're just gonna get blobs everywhere. And it's not fun to have cleaning up blobs everywhere. So there we go. Just gonna add a little bit more on this one. See, that's what happens when it's not clean. Get this really nasty looking. Alright. Alright, that's ready. So I did not put solder on the wire tips because they're very tiny, but I think I should. So I think I'm going to do that now. Try to twist them as much as I can, even though, but you know, even if I touch it right now with the solder, it's just going to melt the area around it, the protective part. There we go, already started. Maybe it was a bad idea. So I hate these. You know, I hope Racerstar is listening, or if it's a Banggood brand or Banggood's listening. Just replace these with silicone. They're very good. It's the only thing that it needs. Nothing more. Alright, so let's get started on this. I'm going to hold it like this because it's easier for me. Sorry about that. Okay, we're gonna start with, let's start with motor 3 right here. Let's check. It's good right there. Shit, that's hot. Now we're gonna jump to motor 4. There we go. Let's turn the corner on. Same procedure for the rest also. Move this guy out of the way. We're on motor 2. See, it's fine to have it a little bit long here because there's nothing to really touch. There's no components popping up here. So we're going to keep it long. Oh my god, I just burned myself. Alright. That's nice. That is good. Okay, so now the next steps. We're going to take a look at this. I think I'm going to do the motors now just to get them out of the way. So we're going to do the motors. I'm going to remove this double-sided tape and put electrical tape on it, on the bottom, on the frame, before I solder them in. And I don't know if I'm going to use heat shrink or just going to use electrical tape to hold it down. So let me figure that out real quick and I'll be right back and then we can continue the rest of the process. Alright guys, so we finished soldering the signals and the motors. I just finished soldering in the motors. I put a small heat shrink on this side and I'm going to slide this up here and then shrink it once I make sure the motors are spinning in the right direction. Now for me on every build I've always reversed motors 2 and 3. So if you start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, so these 2 and 3 are always reversed for me. The first and the last wire, just reverse them. So now this is done here. The next step I'm thinking of doing is soldering in the VTX's power. Since this has an OSD, so we're gonna let me show you real quick. So the VTX will get 12 volts from here. Now we can give it ground from here, or we can give it ground from here. And the VTX, which is the video from the camera, this is what goes here. And if you look up here, you have cam and 5 volt. So the camera will take 5 volt from here, and you can ground it from here, or take ground from. We could take ground from this one, from the VTX. And so the camera outline will go into cam, and then it'll basically be bridged inside through OSD and come out to the VTX through this line. So that should leave for a good clean build and no wires just running all over the place. What we have left to do is, after the VTX and the camera, is the low ESR capacitor and the battery connections, and I think that's it. That's it really. We're basically done here. Am I missing something? And the receiver is just the it's ppm, so we're just gonna plug it in here and then just that's it. So yeah, all right, okay, so let's start soldering in the VTX. So let's get the VTX here to know which wire is what. All right, okay, so let's see which way it'll go in. All right, so it'll go in like this. So we're gonna give it, so we got here 7 to 24 volts. We're gonna give it 12. Ground, okay. Video, audio, ground. Now we don't have audio, so it's not going to be going anywhere. This ground, I might use this ground to ground the camera. So basically, I just give the camera 5 volts from here, and I'll just ground it from the VTX. I think that's what I'm going to do, or maybe not. I don't know yet. Yeah, that's best. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. Let's just start with the ground and power to the VTX. So we have the bottom here. Okay, so let's just spread them a bit, because if we cut it and then we try to spread them, it's very much pain because these are such cheap and crappy wires. I wish they would go silicone. They're very hard too. And when you know, you can't really use a wire stripper with these. I just use a lighter to just burn them off. It's funny, I think this is the one where I just burn it and then it just turns into ash and I just go like this. It doesn't even melt. I'm not sure if it's this one or it was something else. Oh no, it was the Foxeer silicone wires that do that. Alright, so I'm gonna leave extra this time, and then we can always cut to length as needed. So maybe something like this would be good, because it'll go under. So maybe I'll do it like this, and it'll go on top of from the bottom of the receiver to the top here. Yeah, I think that's gonna be good. I'm gonna cut them here, so it's long enough. Now we don't need this anymore. So red is the voltage in. This is the best as I can do with these shitty wires. Okay. Sometimes you see the wires a bit contaminated when you solder it, but it just doesn't really affect it if it's not much. Now we're going to get the ground for it. Okay. The yellow is the video, which is going to go to that VTX pad. Okay. And ground, we don't need, this is audio, and this is going to go for the ground of the camera. There we go, that was a good one. Now I'm just going to solder them and then just cut the tips off. Cut what I don't need, what's extra. Alright, let's get that done with now. Let's move this on the side. Just gonna have it hanging like this. Just get one wire at a time. Put a little. Too lazy to go get the helping hands, so it'll do just fine. Shit, I forgot which one I made. Okay. Need video now. Alright, let's clean this off a bit. And we need the lost ground, which is this one. And that's good. So this will go to a pad. I think it's good size right now. Let's do it like this so you can see better. Okay. This one is the ground for, doesn't matter, ground is ground. Okay. And this is the VTX, this yellow one. Let's trim it a little bit now. That's good. And I'm going to keep this last one long so we can twist it with the camera's ground. Alright, let's prepare the pads now. So we got the 12 volt, I'm going to fix the camera. Okay, we got 12 volt VTX, we're not going to be using RSSI. And then what I'm thinking of doing is actually getting ground from this side right here. For the, instead of grounding it with this, because it's just going to be messy. I'm going to prepare all the pads right now, since we're here. And we're going to do that last ground in this corner there. This is how I'm going to ground the, I don't know, should I? Yeah. I'm going to ground the VTX from here, and basically that's also the camera's going to get its ground from the VTX, which is grounded here. There we go. So let's start with the red guy, which is 12 volts. I'm not going to have it coming off the back like this. I'm going to have it going inside so it just pops over the receiver. Okay, just need to cut a little bit shorter. I think right about there is good. And then let's check the VTX, which is the camera line in, the yellow wire. We're going to start with this, since it's a little easier to go to the right with the iron. Okay, that's good. Let's get the 12 volts. That's also good. That's perfect right there. We should move this a little bit more. Alright. So these last two right here, let's move them out of the way for right now. Okay, so we got these in now. We're going to put the ground right there. So I'm also going to have it be going inwards like this. I need to cut it a little bit shorter here. Alright. That's perfect. I'm going to solder this left-handed over the camera wire. How am I going to do it like this? Okay, we're not going to do it like this. Okay, that's good. There's ground. And that's it. We're good to go. VTX is all ready now. Okay, got its ground. Alright, we got the camera wires now. Let's cut them. I don't know if we could do it with the finger. Yep, we can. Alright, we didn't need the lighter this time. We could just rip them off with our nails. Okay. They're a bit too long now, but that's totally fine. I'm going to put a little solder on them before we cut them. So let's move this guy out of the way now. Okay, where's the solder? Do the same technique. So what I like to do is I have solder just floating in the air like that. If I don't have my helping hands, I just put a little solder on the solder tip and then I just have it go onto the wire. Okay. Alright. So, we're good here. Let's see, right here. Move. So we have cam and 5 volt. So we're going to start with cam and then move down to 5 volt. Yeah. So cam is the yellow wire. Cut this shorter. And then 5 volt also cut it shorter. Alright. So cam is first. Cam's going to go right here. And we're routing it through the PDB just because it has an OSD, which is good actually. Once you add the low ESR capacitor, it's very good OSD. You even have current, gives you the current draw. I should have moved it like this. Okay, there we go. Now, like we said, we're going to ground it through. Let's see. So we have these guys, and we could just spin this wire like this. Okay. Now we have. Alright, and then this one will be connected to that. But I want to remove the audio because we don't really need it. Cut it from here. There we go, we're done. Now, these two guys together. We should get a get a little heat shrink here. It's gonna be perfect right there. Shit. Alright. I think it would be very difficult to build drones without heat shrink. Especially if you have to do a little wiring like this. Alright. Still hot. There we go. Alright. Now we have the camera and VTX. This should be totally fine now. Now, what's left? Okay. Now I'm going to prepare a low ESR capacitor. I'm going to be using the 1000 microfarad 25 volt Panasonic low ESR capacitor. So let me get that ready along with some silicone wire, and so we can. Alright guys, so I managed to solder it on. The battery died. Lost all the footage. So sorry about that. So anyways, I soldered it like I told you on the other side. So this is the battery. I soldered in the battery also. XT60 connector. Yeah. Anyways, so I ran it to the other side here with these ESCs. And that should do everything pretty nice. Should keep it very clean. Now there's a little play, but don't forget these are silicone, and the pins, I could feel them, they're not bending. So that is very good. Also, what else did I do? Okay, I've set up the receiver here, and we are basically done now. We just gotta put it all together. Just put the camera in, and bind it, and plug in the VTX and see if everything's working. There's one thing left. Oh, there it is. I also did the PPM wire. I cut these. I didn't remove them because these little metal things here, they actually help keep it secure in place. It just gives it more grip to hold on to. So now what I'm going to Okay, so we're going to test it out now. We have the VTX connected. I've already selected the channel A2 on 200 milliwatts. Just connected the camera. Everything is connected here. I just have not bound it yet or updated it, so I don't know if it's running clean flight right now or beta flight. So we're just going to plug it in, just make sure the VTX, the OSD, and everything is running just fine. Okay, the ESC's boot. That sounds good. And we are getting feed. Yes, we are. So that's good. The OSD is working. Everything seems fine. I used the PAL camera instead of NTSC. So that basically is going to conclude it for this video, guys. Tomorrow I'll be taking this out for a flight, and we can test it out and see how it's going to go. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. And if you guys have any questions, just let me know. I'm more than happy to help out. Alright guys, take care. Happy flying.